The ad boycott at Facebook takes effect starting today. The company has agreed to meet with organizers of the boycott, according to what a company spokesperson told Reuters. Jim, in the last 24 hours, they've agreed to a third-party audit on how they handle hate speech. They've reorganized some algos to prioritize transparent authorship of news articles. They've banned Boogaloo. Are they starting to get the message?
Yeah, I think so. Look, I think that the message has been so loud and clear. The message has been in the form of an avalanche. Mostly because I think some of these companies are afraid, justifiably, of a boycott. And I think that what Mark Zuckerberg needed to do was to come in with a third party that you'd have to listen to, and then you'd have to talk to the groups that are upset, and then figure out what is a good policy that would include both a Patagonia, which I regard as being a hardliner, a Ben & Jerry's that's a hardliner, but also just regular companies. I mean, companies like Levi with Chip Bergh. Bring Chip Bergh in. Bring Kevin Johnson in and say, hey, guys, listen, I might have screwed up. Maybe I left a particular post up that was too long. I want to do it right. I want to follow the third-party audit. And can you get out of this, Mark? You can get out of anything if you change your mind. The country's a forgiving country, but you got to change your mind. You got to be able to say, I renounce what I did. And if you can't, then all is not forgiven. So I think these are the right steps. And I'm willing to say that given the fact that yesterday I threw him under the about 17 different Greyhound buses.
Yeah, yes, you did. It was an interesting conversation we had, Jim. And, of course, we did make the point that Zuckerberg is a businessman. He will respond as he needs to make sure his business isn't impaired. But I've been trying to talk to investors who are positive on Facebook, and there are quite a few of them, to understand why the stock really hasn't reacted that dramatically. Now, that said, it was down a lot on Friday. I know, down, almost 8% on Friday. But, here's what you hear. There's $80 billion of ad revenues at this company. By the way, the stock is at about a 20 multiple on GAAP earnings, still growing very quickly. The top 100 advertisers were about 20% of its overall, and now they're as little as 10%. It's not about brand building on this platform. It's about direct response. And for those advertisers, small and medium-sized businesses that are looking for direct response, it's the most effective platform. The return on invested capital they get is far higher than they do on any other platform. And so they aren't going to go away. And conceivably, for those big advertisers who are looking more towards brand building, it's unclear how long they can be away from the platform as well. So, it's important, I think, to hear the other side of this, which is, yeah, this is not going to be that important. Zuckerberg will do what he needs to do around the edges. But ultimately, it's really about a direct response platform in which the advertisers are quite happy given the returns that they get. Not to mention the coming wave of social commerce that people talk about. You follow somebody on Instagram, they wear clothes that you like, and then you buy through their Instagram account in some fashion. And Facebook being able to take advantage of what will be, again, those who are bullish on it believe, a growing area.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Look, I think the shops was brilliant. Stock had this big move after shops. I think what they intend to do to be able to support some of the shops, I suspect that they're doing some things with minority shops that I think will be very positive. I think they have to get this behind them, if only just because it's like Cambridge Analytica. It just kept hanging out there, and it just makes it so that there's investigations and maybe distractions, and also a sign that perhaps you can't trust them. And I think 8 million of advertisers think you can trust them. And they've been the way to be able to create business. It is the way to be able to create small and medium-sized businesses. And I think they understand that. That's their ambassadors. At the same time, look, they're people. And people do not want to be on the other side of history. And I think that whether they're making a lot of money or not, Zuckerberg is sensitive to that. Or why bring in a third party? Why bring in someone? Why bring in the people who have been most critical? I believe that this is the dialogue is incredibly important. But yes, David, there hasn't been much of a dent to earnings because, unfortunately for Facebook, if you're a Facebook shareholder, Facebook work there, they have not been able to really crack that much in consumer products. There are obviously some very big contracts, but he's making the moves. He's making the moves that you need to do to get back on even keel. In the meantime, you're right. The 8 million advertisers that are direct response, they need Facebook as much as Facebook needs them.